Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the SQ1 Champions League. I am back once again, your play-by-play caster for today. I am Duckling, and with me I have, you guessed it probably already, it's Blade of Souls, or Blade preferably.
Hello.
Wait, it sounded like a cat coming in. Oh god, okay, let's send our heads to the game. Like, that is an introduction I wouldn't be proud of if I were you. But we're going into this game, and it is an exciting one, to say the least. It has some big implications on the standing. This is actually CBA, and our good friends over at Seadogs Esports. And we're getting towards the end of the season, Blade, as you know. And now playoffs are getting closer and closer. But what teams will make it? We have what it seems to be a pretty solid top 8 who wants to get the playoffs, but only 6 can get it. Seadogs are currently in a shared 6th, and they need to get this win to start to get themselves up in the standings and try and secure that playoff spot as early as possible. CBA, on the other hand, still have a decent chance to try and go for some of the top seedings in the bracket. And obviously, if they get the top 2, you get a pass, or you get a bye, as it's called, to the semifinals. So trying to get up there and fight with the big dogs, which they kind of already do, would be a really good thing for them. It is also very, very much preferred, you could say, at least, to get a bye straight to the semifinals.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if we look at the roster of CDS, which you guys can see at, we do notice that the support is new or has a new name change. I don't know, but we haven't seen him before, which is Sneaky Teapot. Love the name. Awesome, keep it that. And mid laner, we of course know that Wheatfish has transferred to another team, so Nida Lift has been taking his place in the mid lane now.
This is a super interesting thing, I would say. Nilift has been looking pretty solid. He is rated Diamond 3 at the moment, actually. He plays a lot of these mage champions, but also actually just mostly plays mage, to be honest. But I would guess that when you're playing on a team of this caliber, you can still flex into what could be a needed AD carrying build laner or something like that. That's always good to have, but plays a lot of mages. And he was a very big part of this team. Was probably one of the best players they had. And obviously with him now gone, who is now playing for Team Alpha, they need to get someone in. And Nidalee, if he can continue doing what he's been doing, and if he can do well, it will definitely won't feel like a loss for Seadogs, because you lose one of your best players. If you get in a player who's about the same level, you don't really lose too much when you get him into the system. But obviously that might take some time, and he might not be completely integrated into the roster yet. Sometimes it takes a week for a team to get him in, a few days, but sometimes it takes a month. So he also needs to fit in quickly.
No, it's kind of what we also have seen with Golden Guardians in the LCS, where they've always been an organization that was very on the bottom, and now they got a whole new roster, and their early weeks weren't the greatest, but now as soon as the split went further and further, they seem to become stronger and stronger, and the team really seems to got so far to get their shit together to a point where now they actually made playoffs. And I do want to point out that I think that can happen with Seadogs here. The only problem is that it's a very late shift. It's not in the early season where they had weeks to come together and play and scrim. This is a very late transfer to where 2 new players, Nidalee and Sneaky Teapot. We just got confirmation that Sneaky Teapot is indeed a new drafted player for SDS. I mean, if you just have a new player in random, like this late in the split, you don't get as much practice time as you want. You cannot work on the synergies, and that might actually start working against you. So I'm a bit scared to see how SDS will start playing around this, because I haven't seen Sneaky Teapot in action yet. He is also Diamond 3 like Nidalee, and that bot lane, Vanguard can really punish that bot lane if they do wrong.
Definitely can, but I'm excited actually for them bringing in Sneaky Teapot, because it is really exciting. We can say, he's coming in, stopping or taking the spot of Memo, who has actually previously been playing not only support. He hasn't been a dedicated support player in solo queue. If you look at his solo queue, he plays things from Pyke to Silas to Jinx to Malzahar, goes all over the shop, you would say. And with them getting in Sneaky Teapot, who only plays support, you get someone who is a little bit more specialized in this one field of play, and this could be very important for their bot lane, which is a very strong part of their team. So now I would say this is an improvement getting in Sneaky Teapot, and I'm very excited to see what this bot lane can do together.
I mean, definitely, someone that's focused on their role is always better. However, I always like to have an all-rounder in a team, no matter what it is. Just even if it's on the bench, like as soon as someone drops, you can always put them there, and they have a certain amount of knowledge what they can do in the role, so that if someone is sick or someone has like detention, which we have seen in this tournament
Oof.
actually,
Yeah,
that you
that's a
can
yikes.
yeah, that you can at least get someone, to come and play and know the role, know what they're doing. And now we just see the bans. Like Morgana is actually becoming a more standard ban recently, even in higher tier championships, because the changes made her at least a tad stronger. And the Black Shield is always annoying to play against, which tells me that CBA wants to do some more things with CC, maybe a more CC centered comp. And just Jace is a standard top lane ban because he's the menace of any kind of tank.
They definitely get to do a lot of work with this Morgana ban. It gives them a lot of good things over to that roster. You could say they first take away Morgana, who's just in general very strong, but also Sneaky T, but most players champion is in ranked, where he has been very good on.
Yep.
So that ban definitely makes sense. And Silas also taken away, very standard ban, I would say. He is very annoying to play again. There is no worse feeling than him stealing your ultimate and then killing you with it.
And Vayne, of course, for Vayne God, as we would have expected. If you don't ban Vayne's Vayne God, then you
Damn
are
it.
blind. Yeah, we actually really want to see Vayne God get
I want
play
to see
Vayne.
Vayne play Vayne, damn it.
I
And I
like the
got pretty
character.
happy. All the times when we've casted
got
CBA
banned.
Blade, it got
Yeah.
banned first ban. So this time they were like, okay, they're banned for the Jays.
You had
They
hope.
might not actually do it. They might not then off. Damn it. But it happens. Hopefully one day we will see it through. Now I want to see it in like a best of 5.
Yeah,
Game
I mean,
5 coming in there smoothing.
it's a lot higher. It has a lot of higher chance to get through the bans in a best of 5, because then after the first game it will probably get banned, but after that they might put priority on some other picks and accidentally leave it open because they forgot about it. We have seen that before, and I'm very confused about the Karthus ban though. I don't think Muppet has any experience with it in the jungle. Nidavellir, I haven't seen it play yet. I haven't seen Nidavellir in action at all, so I am not too big on his champion pools. But for the picks, it's pretty much standard. Jarvan is still a high tier jungle, and pretty much every elo can do so much with team comps. Lucian, very early tier jungle, which would fit great with something like the Galio. That duo just wants to get in level 2, probably one of the best level 2s in League on the bot side in the early game, because of the amount of damage that they can bring and because of the amount of CC that they can send over to make sure that a gank can hit, or that the damage just gets put through fully. And very strong, but a very risky bot lane, because if that gets punished by something like a Fiddlesticks is actually really good, which you might not say, then that bot lane falls apart in the mid game. Ooh,
It
I love the
really
dome.
falls apart, but it is a very strong bot lane. We can't take anything away from that. It is an insanely strong one, Lucian being one of the best early games of the season. Galio, if you haven't played against him before, guys, if the player knows how to play Galio support, which I don't, but when you do, his damage is bonkers. It is very much out there. And talking about big damage, they picked LeBlanc.
The LeBlanc.
LeBlanc.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they would have gone for the Edge here, but they can leave it open because there's not a big chance of it getting banned. While LeBlanc, the nerfs on LeBlanc haven't really come through yet, which does mean that LeBlanc is still at a very strong point. However, next patch, she is centered to be nerfed around her Q and her W, so she will probably fall out of the higher tournament meta. And Nidavellir needs to make... Ooh, Lissandra.
You love Lissandra still, don't you?
I still love Lissandra. I don't play mid anymore, but I really do love the champion. And one thing I really hope from SES, because they have this tankiness, they have this engage, they rightfully ban away the Jinx from Vayne God. We have seen him pop off on it multiple times. I hope that they go for something like a Vi here. Since the buffs, Vi has actually seen play and pro play today for the first time in the LPL on the side of IG. And it looks very good, especially paired up with a cannon, where you just are, the target cannot move, cannon uses a slicing maelstrom, and normally doesn't even need to, but there were multiple enemies. And they just could center out the whole team due to the amount of damage and all-round CC that both could bring to the side. And it's very good for something like the LeBlanc. LeBlanc can easily dash away, can jump away, can just do everything she wants. However, with your R and your Q, you can easily follow up. Her mobility is a bit less valuable because you can move about the same times as she can. So you can either set up a trap or follow, which I think would be great for the team. As well as Jarvan, who can just use flag and track to get away.
You can also do a whole party bus when you do the wild, if you pick it up, of course, on the
Mhm.
side of Seadogs, because you have your Galio to come in. Lysandra can potentially come in from a flank, wouldn't be too hard. They can also pick up this Yasuo. And I wanted to talk about it quickly, but I thought they would have picked their mid lane already. Obviously, can go in the top lane for Mammal, but Yasuo and Vi is one of the worst things to play against, and it won't be it.
Oh yeah.
But I quickly want to talk about this. Like, Vi has so many points of strength with champions like Galio, Yasuo. The second you all in on target, the target follows up. I played a solo queue game
Mhm.
where I was support and my Jinx was doing well.
Mhm.
Every single team fight we got into, their Vi and Yasuo decided to press R on Jinx.
Yeah.
I was
Then-
out of options, and then like it was the second. It was a snap. It was basically like they were Thanos snapped, and then my Jinx was dead.
We're gone. Yeah.
And it's an insane combo. Didn't go for it this time, but Vanguard picks up the
Ooh.
Draven. This is an interesting early game we'll see in the bot lane now.
Draven Brom is a very, very evil lane if it gets ahead. If it gets ahead, the Draven will just take no damage and he will just do all the damage onto you, which I very like against something like a Lucian, because Draven will out damage the Lucian around the first to second item because of Brom. Brom can just stop pretty much all the bursts from Lucian that might come in if he puts up the Unbreakable and will deny so much damage while the Draven will continue to do so. And this Aatrox can go into the jungle, so it is a kind of a flex pick for either Muppet or Mammal. It will really depend. We haven't seen it in the jungle here yet, but on higher tier play, it has been picked multiple times and actually sometimes works better. Oh, wait, this Nocturne would not be my first idea for the jungle, but could really work against the Draven to try
Nocturne
and take
mid?
him down. I highly doubt it. Nah, there we go. Yes, do it. Do it.
Ooh, the heck of him.
Yes!
We got the horse, boys.
Okay. Hecarim has been getting buffed on the quotation marks. Pretty much his Q got put on the place where it's supposed to be. His Q used to do more damage with every stack of Q it had, which could go up to a max of 3. However, there was apparently a bug for so long, like since I started playing, that was already there, where it actually didn't trigger, and that made Hecarim a bit worse. So it would always be stale damage on the Q. Now that got fixed, and as soon as it got fixed, you saw Hecarim rise up in priority. We have seen it in pro play. We have seen it in major tournaments. Hecarim top lane is good. Jungle is good.
Ooh.
We're gonna see him here top
It's
lane.
gonna
against
be in the
Poppy.
top lane.
Ah!
And, obviously this makes me think of Licorice. He was the
Licorice.
guy who started
Yeah.
picking up in the NALCS, destroyed Haunter's Aatrox with it, continued doing that at Worlds. Obviously, the Aatrox is on his side, but I'm interested to see how this matchup against the Poppy will go. Seems like more of a tank matchup without too much action. But recently, I have been seeing a lot more Hecarim, and he has been very strong with something like an Icebound Gauntlet to follow along with him.
Yeah, I have seen that as well. I mean, I played a ranked game actually, and I was playing. Oh god, Trundle. Trundle Hecarim is not a fun comp to go against because your W will also increase his movement speed, which is fun for him, not for your opponent. And at the end of the game, he was 15-1 due to like 20% extra movement speed on mine with Ghostblade. Yeah, that's a scary horse that will one-shot pretty much anything that's under 2,000 health. But I am very surprised that we see Mobbit on the Aatrox in the jungle, which we haven't seen before in this tournament yet. As I said before, it is very good, and it is a flex pick that can go in the jungle. However, the side of Seadogs has one problem, and that is if they get very behind, they have a team comp that's not good to come back. Yes, they have scaling a bit in Muppet's Aatrox and Alessandra from Little Lift. However, the bot lane doesn't scale very well. Top lane wants to get ahead a little bit. Yes, he has a little less chance of falling off due to him being positioned in the top side and actually can farm up. However, this Poppy at like the mid to late game will probably overwhelm him with the amount of armor and slow and CC that she can bring to the horse. And then I think because Hecarim cannot burst her down, that will be a little bit more of a problem towards Poppy. While the side of CBA, they have a very nice scaling comp. They have LeBlanc that can easily roam to get picks on the Lucian. As we know, LeBlanc is very strong in the early game. Draven is always just pretty much good if you have someone that knows how to pilot him, which I know Vayngod does. Brom can protect both Draven and LeBlanc, which are pretty much the carries. Jarvan can bring a ton of CC. Poppy can bring a ton of security to the team. Like, so Aatrox cannot immediately E towards you and jump up. It can stop the Lissandra Claw. It can do so much. It can stop the Galio Dash. I really like the team comp product from CBA.
CBA's comp is interesting. Obviously, this Hecarim pick is very interesting as well. And I have taking a quick look at Mammal's profile, and basically all I see at the start is a lot of Seadogs being played, but I
Yep.
have went all the way down, and I have seen not a single game of Hecarim.
Yep.
Obviously, it could be played in scrims. We can see this on op.gg, but this just kind of gets me a picture of this might not be a pick that he has played a lot of times. He hasn't done any practice with it recently in solo queue, and this might be a bit of a ballsy pick. It might be one other thing. Okay, he has played it a few times before. I think this is gonna work. We don't have any other great options here, and then let's just see how it goes. It might be one of those picks. It obviously can be something more. Oh, we've played it a ton of times in scrims, and it's going great. Like scrims going well. Can't wait for semis. But I am a bit doubting of this pick. Without any practice in any online game, I am very excited as well to see how this will go.
Yeah, Hecarim is one of those picks where you want to have at least a little bit of mastery towards him, because Hecarim is just one of those picks that if you get behind, it's really hard, as I said before, it's really hard to come back into the game. And especially against Poppy, that can just ignore your dash. Like, you cannot go in on her like you want to. She just puts up the shields, you get blocked, and there goes all of your AD, and she will be able to punish. Even with the Aatrox stop, is one of the hardest lanes to gank for this side of Seadogs, while even mid is hard to gank. LeBlanc can just easily get out of a dangerous situation by using the distortion. He will probably be looking towards bot, but even then they have the Braum that can cancel Hecarim's charge with his ultimate. Aatrox will find it hard to get on them because of the slows. I think this Aatrox might not have been the perfect pick together with Hecarim because of the amount of disconnect they have from CBA. CBA took a very safe comp, pretty much a counter comp almost, if you look at it, where the ability and the defense allows them to stop all engage pretty much coming out from the side of Seadogs. And they really need to win this early game, or I think they will be in a lot of trouble.
They could be in a whole heap of trouble. To turn my eyes one more time to this Hecarim pick, but as we were in the loading screen, I checked out his mastery points, and he was at 3,000 mastery points.
Ooh.
So it isn't the most practiced pick, and it's very, very brave of him to try and pull it out here in such an important match for them. There aren't that many left, and if you want to get that playoff spot, you need every single win. And beating a team like CBA higher up in the standings really, really boosts your chances of going into playoffs.
Not only that, look at Unknown Sweet Runes. He is playing Predator Jarvan, which I have never seen before in solo queue, I think, not even in competitive. It had always been Electrocute or even Aftershock we've seen before when you really want to commit to the tank Jarvan build. However, Predator might tell me that because they have Poppy and Braum who are very tanky, that might tell me that he really wants to go for the AD Lethality Burst Jarvan build, which would even hurt more towards the side of Seadogs, but would make him a lot more squishy. So I'm really wondering why he took Predator, and I hope we see it very soon.
It can lead to some fast games, if you want to try and rival that horse up in the movie speed. Predator is a great way to do it, but probably won't be used for that either way.
No. Think about this. I really just want to see him outrun Hecarim, just take Ghostblade, take Predator, and just run on the top side and see who makes it to the third faster. I actually really want to see that. That would be so great. I doubt it will happen, but it would be fun to see.
You doubt it would happen, like, dude, it won't happen. Why would you do that in a competitive game? I'm sure they could be counted as inting.
Yeah, but it depends on how behind you are. Like, if you're about to surrender, I mean, it's not loud, but if it's like 20-1 or something, yeah, the game is over. I might not have some fun with it.
Oh, wait, but now they're looking for a bot lane early game. A flash from Unknown Sweet to block it. Sneaky T-Pods E, but he will like a 3-man early game gank in the bot lane. Turned out good. Had to use 2 flashes, but again, you got 2 summon spells on the other side. And that's a good early game advantage, especially for this Draven. He can get such a huge lead. Now he has the 1 kill, obviously didn't get that many adoration stacks, but he also has a Cryptomancy. And every lane is fighting as top lane. Mammal proves me wrong with the Hecarim, picks up a solo kill, has to use the Ignite, but Reprobate uses the flash. What is this game?
And this is what we talked about. Hecarim needs to get those early pressure down, otherwise he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And this is what you want, because Poppy will outscale you to the mid and late game with her tankiness, with this E that can stop her from being pushed away from you engaging, which she doesn't have yet on level 1. Mammal hit level 2 first, they traded, he knew he had the damage advantage using Conqueror, so he just engaged, which was just a very nice play from him. And on the bot side, it's just always good to give a Draven first blood. This makes the lane for Philister and SQ bot a lot harder, because they wanted that early game. But now if you look at the damage coming out from Vanguard against Philister and Kingen, that early game will be even more in a dire situation, and they really not something happen.
Look at his gold lead already.
Yep.
That is not what you want to see, especially playing on the side of Seadogs with Philister and Sneaky Teapot. It's a tough one, like, not much else to say there. Looks very tough to say the least. We can quickly look at this mid lane, and obviously it is pretty stale, it's just a stale war. CS is about even, there is a very, very tiny lead on middle left, but that is all completely fine. And then the Muppet and Unknown Sweet actually did meet each other up at the blue buff, and it seemed like Unknown Sweet took it away from the side of Muppet. And Muppet is now in his bot side jungle trying to get his own blue buff, and Unknown Sweet is looking for getting top lane. But the horse is a bit too quick there for him.
And he got him out pretty much, as we saw. He was standing on a controller placed by Mammal. Very smart buy, because, oh wait, Unknown Sweet goes in.
Oh my god, he's actually going in here. Mammal, he's just actually trying to trade around. But when he pops off the E, he tries to run away. Didn't want to give them a devastating charge straight to the face. Now he walks again. He is playing a bit aggressive on the second rim, you know. There's a 50% chance that he's still there, and he goes in from the wall. But obviously, that's nothing to complain about there. Oh, the Justice Point mission from Sneaky Teapot, and Muppet is on his way in. But will it quite be enough? If they don't do that much damage, King gets taken quite low. But the heal. Wait, he has heal?
He is still ignited. Yes, he has heal.
That is an interesting thing.
Actually, but no.
I can see how it works. Like, it makes sense. But I wasn't quite expecting that. That was a bit blunder for me. But now they're going for the 4-man dive. The claw into the ring of frost, into the kills from the side of Seadogs. And they pick up 3 with the turret. I feel like flash away. Unfortunately, the turret, but it's an execution. No gold given over. That was gold missed. And
this is what Seadogs really needed. That bot lane was getting so far behind, and that early game is their strength in the whole team pretty much, except for Lissandra. So what you wanted here is really to have that bot lane just have a full-on engage. The mid lane was gone, so you could do something like this and just pressure him so much.
Oh, Mammal, no!
That's a dead horse.
That's a dead horse. He did have the ignite, but he had nothing else. Couldn't get away. That was an unfortunate situation. 2 unfortunate situations for Seadogs in a row now.
Yep.
It was also unfortunate when we look at Phil, you know, flashing out of the turret, but the shot won't lose you because of that by the end. He goes down. The turret does a lot of damage. A big Batman moment for Seadogs. Although they do still get overall the lead of getting 2 kills in the bot lane for true, but one of them was execute, so it all went good.
I do want to point out again to what you said, that Kringen has the heal and Greenbot has the cleanse, which makes sense. We have seen a lot of ADCs move away from the heal and put it on their supports. We have seen that in the LPL today. We have seen it in the LEC and the LCS last week. Not the LCS, but the the LCS. We have seen it in the LCS last week, where I think Sneaky did cleanse because they had a Lissandra in the mid as well against them, and that just makes sure that one of the carries, which in this case is the Draven on Vanguard, cannot be stunned down or cannot be CC'd down as much. And especially against the bot lane Galio, you want to ignore the full engage and the taunt that comes out from him, and that's why something like the plant on an ADC is actually safer than a heal.
It is very safe, you know, you're playing full defensive, you take away that ignite that you might usually have. Now, whenever Vanguard gets engaged on, he can use a cleanse to try and get away. And it obviously does a bit of slow resistance as well, so if he gets hit by slow instantly afterwards, it also kind of stops him from burning him down.
Yep.
I do want to look at this top lane though, because it has been very, very interesting to look at the moment. Mammal is a bit behind in both the CS and XP department. And that is not what you want to do with the Attacker Rim. It has been a pick that has done some good things in the early game, but now it's falling a bit behind. Mid lane is trading quite heavily actually. Middle left, tries to go in with the claw into the ultimate. The frozen tomb will be his tomb this time. The ignite might take him down. No, he survives. With the slim of HP. Unknown Sweet is on his way, but gets spotted on the wall. The middle left goes back all the way off.
very nicely played from Italy here, because if you look at the fight going on before about the skirmish, that... Oh, wait. Okay, man, it's just gonna disengage. I was about to say that aftershock from Nilith was down to the early LeBlanc engage, and usually when you see a Lissandra with aftershock and you get it down, you just go in, because that means all of her defenses are down and you don't want to give her time to recharge. So Paulson just played that by the book. He just went full on, not knowing that Muppet was actually in the sidelines and wanted to help her. And it was just, I think, one Q or one W away from actually killing Needlelift as well in that trade. It just shows that the LeBlanc, even though she's too close behind, actually has more power in the mid to early laning phase than someone like Lissandra.
When they played pretty good, like Paulson did there, he got his thing and did the damage, but didn't quite have enough yet. And that is a bit of a sad thing. Obviously, he didn't decide to take the cleanse this time. And that could have gotten him out of the frozen tomb earlier, but then again, it might have been anything else. But before now, we have to look at bot lane though. The concussive goes down sub T, but as he died in with the Justice Punch, had to get away. Feels attacking forward with the calling, but it doesn't do too much damage. King gets taken quite a little bit, does have the heal. Splashing in from Rabbit, that miss! And the full summon goes off out of thinking. Now they might turn it, just as the world ender, it will be pop, but his world will be ended instantly. The heal comes out, the heal is even further back, and he comes out the Justice Punch away. And they can have to safety. I don't think so. In comes the flash. Unknown speed is going forward. He might not get popped. He will in the end. Muppet falls down, but here comes Littlest. He has the frozen tomb. Will it be the tomb for CBA? It might be a huge ultimate with the hero's entrance. Everyone is dropping, and in comes the party boss from Seadogs as they take the fight and they take the 4 kills onto CBA.
What was that? That fight seemed to go to every single direction it possibly could. First, it was in the advantage of Seadogs. Then Jarvan came in, which made it against Seadogs.
Oh wait, they're diving Paulson. They're going all the way and they want to get him. Marple does it. Maybe Mammal does a lot of damage and with the ignite, but it's not quite enough. Paulson almost took him down in return. What an
But yeah, it went to every single location. So as I said, first it wasn't Seadogs' advantage, then it was CBA's advantage. And then because all the teleports came down, that Memo came down, that Muppet actually was able to survive and get another knockup on it before he died, that even helped them more. So then it turned back around to CBA. And then it just kept going in all directions. But in the end, as we saw, Seadogs was just a massive winner of the fight, and this is what the team wants. They are ahead in the early game. They are about 1.5k ahead, which is not much, which can easily be turned around by a kill on mid and bot, I think, because on the side of CBA they do have the farm advantage, but still, they play towards the team comp, they play very well. The execution and the communications, as I said before, is very strong on the side of CBA. We have seen that multiple times, where when they engage, they really know what they're doing, and they communicate it with the jungler, with the mid laner. Because as you can see now, the Sun are getting the blue buff, and I think they might even roam towards bot again because of how close they are in, so they can make a dragon play. And as you see, they are moving towards bot, teleport.
Oh god, that is a lot of damage from Bane got going. That's what the cleanse from the second he gets torn. He will cleanse it, the calling comes out. Everything again focused on the squad lane and both kills will fall. And one for Muppet and one for Phil, so very well for them. They might try and go for this turret. But the cavalry from CBA has tried to defend it. Paulson and Unknown Sweep will see what they can do. They will give up the turret, and it's going to be a 5 turret play. It's taken down on the bottom with first turret gold on top of it. They might move onwards to this Ocean Drake now. And a bit slowly.
I mean, this is also, I think, a bit of a problem with Bengal and Kraken. So what we've seen so far, they give no respect to the bot side, and they do that with very minimal vision. The only vision that they have is in the river brush on the bot side, and that's it. So far we have seen almost 3 full ganks coming from Muppet and from Nidalith, just moving towards the bot and getting the kills because of how pushed they were, how low they were on real vision. I think some ward in the river could really help them play more aggressive, because they always come to the river. They very rarely come back from behind the dragon pit. So if you just ward there, which you know now since they ganked 3 times, and I hope Kingen will do, like this, then they know and can play aggressive, because they know where they are. But they just played so many times aggressive without any vision, without any knowledge, and that just shows how good SBS is at punishing.
SDS has been punishing this bot lane and gotten the leads that they are going to need to snowball this game in. And then they have now rotated since they got the turret and the Drake. There's nothing else for them to pick up on the bottom side. So now the Rift Herald and the top lane turret is in their side. And also that Drake was kind of close to being stolen, I want to mention.
Yeah,
Muppet missed time to smite, then Paulson almost jumped in, and then Sneaky Teapot got it with this auto attack. A bit of a punch there into the dragon, got him the kill. And that was just way too close, I would say. It is a bit of a feels bad in Among Us when you miss the smite, but they got it in the end, so nothing too problematic there. But now Playboy might be able to get something on this top side. Paulson will get spotted out on the wall. Muppet has not been spotted though, and they might try and do something here. As Kingen and Unknown Sweet move down to water bit on the Rift Herald. Midlift has been pushing the mid lane. Muppet is still unseen, and he will go in here, misses the first Q, being that has to run away. He will run for his life, and he will get pulled back into the death. That one Kingen will run, and they can touch those swarm crack, but it will slow them down enough, not to make them able to dive even further.
Yeah, and as we just saw before this whole shebang started on top lane, they actually had the vision to play this aggressive, which I pointed out before. What they did was they warded pretty much the whole river. They got to do what they wanted.
Wait, Mammal and Coffee fighting down here. Mammal might win it. No!
Wait, Ignite is still taking.
Wait, what? It was the 1v1. What is going on in this top lane? Reprobate won it at first, but died to the Ignite. What a sad story. I was not expecting that. This button has basically been going up in a game. It's in a best of 3 of 1v1s though, but we can't talk about that anymore because there is a fight. We're going at it. Sneaky Teapot will get stunned by the concussed blows, and he will taunt 2 in return. Now Paulson just suicides. Oh, I have to jump away. In comes the big cataclysm, but it won't quite keep him in. As the Slash back away, he will take down Vega, and this side is looking so good on the side of CDS.
Oh,
and they will take it.
So, I'm a believer of Sticky Teapot. This dude has been busting his ass so far this game. He has been everywhere. His storms have always been landing. His engages are great. He has very good communication with Philister from what I've noticed. The early game was just a level 2 cheese, which a lot of teams, no matter how good you are, can lose to if you don't have the mobility or if you don't use all your summoners early enough. However, so far, as soon as that happened, they have been able to come back with the help of Muppet. And what we've seen so far is just how good that communication is, how well they can work together. And just because Sneaky Teapot is new, made me think that it might have gone a different direction. A bit what we see from Vayngod and Kringen now, where the communication lags a bit and they go too far and they stay too long. However, they seem like they have been playing for pretty much a few years because that communication is on point.
It is some very solid communication. I want to talk about this Hecarim once again. I was in the middle of talking about the 1v1s they've been having down here, who have been very close, have been very interesting to watch. Reprobate won the last one, a bit kinda still died, but he got the first kill kinda, you know, like a bit more style points, I guess you could say, not getting the first kill. But they have been solo killing each other now 3 times. Or they've been having basically 3 battles, it's the best of 3 we could say. Yeah. And in some weird way 2-2 after they both died in the last game of the series. So we are going to the best of 5 there. We could kind of say, let's see who is the head on the... Who wins the 1v1? It is basically a game 5 coming up next time. Or a 1v1 number 5. And then we'll decide since it's currently 2-2. I like watching this top lane, to be honest. It's a bit of a mini game match.
Wait, we have a game 5 today?
No.
Oh, I was about to say that.
That might actually bamboozle some people, but it is... We could call it a best of 5 1v1s.
Oh, I get what you mean.
Between Mammal and Reprobate.
I get
They are going at each other really tough. That might actually been a bit too much debated, but now though Paulson might have been debated into thinking he could survive, but in comes not from Kingen, but so much damage actually. The heroes enter to make sure his character is safe from Sneaky Teapot, but that's a takedown too. They're taking down Reprobate as well. As now the game 5 is underway, we could say. And Muppet will take him down with the help of his team, and this is actually not a fair one. But now it is, as the ultimate knocks 3 away. It was a good keeper's verdict, but it didn't do the verdict for Nidalee, and he stayed there to pick up the kill on Reprobate.
Yeah, so far, Mammal and Reprobate have not... I mean, they've just been doing the white noodle fight, I guess, where Mammal and Reprobate just been continuously pushing against each other, poking, trading, all that kind of stuff. So nothing really special. The most action has been on the mid and bot lane. For sure the bot lane from what we've seen. I do want to point out, however, how well Mammal is playing to me on a pick that he's not used to or is not practiced with. I expected Reprobate to dominate the laning phase a little bit more, but I just am starting to lose hope on CBA right now because how well Seadogs is playing is really reminding me of a playoffs team or even a semifinals or finals team. Because we have to remember that CBA is higher in the standings than Seadogs, and if Seadogs can play this well against a team that is pretty much very higher than them, then how well will they play against something like Lao Ganma or Glorious Gaming? And I really hope we can see that very soon.
And one thing is playing against these just below top teams in the league like Glorious Gaming or Lagang Ma. They're basically at the top, but at the top currently, Royal Reapers. And if CDX plays this level of League of Legends, they might bring a big fight to Royal Reapers when they will eventually face off. And that is very important, you know, you can need every win here to get the playoffs. It's a close race. It is a bit like every game counts from the LEC, I have to say. And Seadogs, they have been red piping hot this game, and if they can close it out, they get one step closer to playoffs, and they get one step closer to what they want.
I mean, Seadogs needs to start making some very critical errors to lose this game. They are in a almost 10k gold lead. They have an 8-in-1 Lucian that is pretty much one big item ahead of the Draven, which is already something you don't want as a Draven. That's a pick that wants to dominate the laning field pretty much continuously. Jungle seems to be very behind or getting more and more behind. Muppet, I also want to point out, has been just everywhere on the map, has been constantly with the bot lane when they made a gate.
Oh, and then the top lane though, there will be some kills coming down here. Everything is huge on the bot lane once again from CB, and they will fall. Paulson gets one in return though, but he might drop himself. Muppet now is running forward. The Colin will miss. A flash ignite from Teapot. Just do a bit of Teapot. Backing on them. That was what I was looking for.
That was not only an ignite, that was an ignite smite flash.
It was everything used to try and get the last 2 kills. And we were questioning coming into this match, how would Seadogs look without Weedfish? How was Nidalee gonna perform? How is Sneaky T-Bot kind of perform coming into the roster with Filster? And they are doing phenomenal. They're shutting down all the doubters that might have been about them, and are looking solid to try and solidify them as themselves as a playoff team.
And as I said multiple times, the strongest thing I think about Seadogs not only is their communication, but their warding game. If you look at the jungle side from CBA, it's lit up like a Christmas tree. You see so much in the top red side, which come on, it was a good wordplay.
But it's a bit of a season, please. It's not Christmas anymore.
I mean, but I love Christmas. But besides that, they have so much vision everywhere on the map. Like, anytime CBA just wants to get into their jungle, it's seen by the side of SDS. And if we look at the wards that CBA has...
Claudia gets hit by one chain, will get hit by the next. He still has the claw to get away. He won't use it. Oh god! Paulson one-shots him. And now they're trying to get something back. But can CDX actually win this? Because they're diving everything with the characters into the Eon Filter. He will heal a bit with the redemption, might get away. No! Paulson comes in, but he won't quite kill him with the ignite. He will get away. No! He won't the last tick of the ignite, take him down. But now they will get Reprobate. But can they continue forward? Here comes the Horde, the onslaught of Seadogs and the decimating charge. Everything is used, and they will pick up Vanguard here. It looks so good for CBA, but it will not be enough. As Seadogs slammed the door in their fight, even when it looked so dire.
This, as you said, looks pretty much like it was a win for CBA. The engage that they have been waiting on. But then comes the horse, then comes the Muppet just breaking open them. Nidalee was not even out of position there. I just think that because he has bone plating, because he has Aftershock, that he didn't expect that amount of damage coming down from Paulson, who has the Luminous Echo, who has the Long. He does have that magic pen. And this might just have been a mistake from Nidalee, not expecting.
Oh, they might be overextending a bit here. That one is quite low. The Baron is half health. Unknown is here though. Will they be able to get into the pit? Paulson is here to try to get something down. The chains will miss. And Seadogs back off the Baron to play it safe. Now Muppet is playing a bit too aggressively, it seems. Paulson still taking forward, playing so well on this line the last fight. They pick off the 2 carries. and they back off in the end. I want to talk about that fight quickly. It was so great, but now the Muppet might be dead. He gets hit by the chain blade. Half his health gone. Now feels like again knocked into the wall. There is no flash this time, buddy. He will go down. Raingard picks him up. Now Nidef has to run for his life. Everything's confused by King is trying to do something. Here comes the entire roster of Seadogs except for Filter, but they will get melted. This might be the comeback. Muppet will fall. Muppet is next on the chopping block. As Raingard will try to pick him up, he will. In the end, it's such a good fight because the Cataclysm will lose his own life as he uses his unknown speed. Paulson reprobate and Vanguard will back off.
And this is what we've been talking about. The mid to late game so much better.
Oh, they're 10k ahead, Blade. No, they are a bit. How do they lose a fight like this? Feels like a cut out into the wall.
Lucian might be ahead, but Draven has the Infinity Edge. He has the BF sword. He's building towards the Bloodthirster. Their mid to late game is much better in terms of damage, in terms of all-round tanking, than the side of Seadogs. Seadogs did what they wanted. They did the early game. They did what they could. They were very ahead. They seemed to be a sure shoe-in to win. However, now is the point where some picks start to fall off. Lucian starts to fall off. Galio, because he's not building AP and just goes pretty much support tank, starts to fall off. Muppet has only the Black Cleaver and the 80 jungle item. He is still squishy, and without that World Ender, who I might point out that was like 2 seconds, 3 seconds by the end of the fight before the ball was back online, doesn't want to fully commit because he cannot revive. Hakurin was just a bit too far away from the fight to fully engage with them, which first of all started as a 4v5, then became again a 4v5 when Hakurin was there, because by that time Cinderfall was already dead. And then they just take control, which this gives me so much more of hope for CBA that actually is coming back with that comp from behind and is actually able to turn this all around constantly.
But Blade Foster hasn't even bought a QSS. The last 2-5. Rubberbay has been heroic with his heroic charges, knocking him into the wall, and that just leads to so much damage onto them. And then Foster just died. He didn't even buy the QSS here. That's so much disrespect there.
Oh, Memo
Coming out of him, and now we might see the fight. Sneaky Keepers get shut down by the Puppycopter. Now they're using everything to get in there. They're using all the damages, and it looks good for them as here comes the heroic entrance, and they will be a heroic entrance, but they might actually turn around the fight as Slither get knocked out. It's a 4 versus 5, but can they do the damage as they want? As it looks so good for CBA for such a short time. But now, baby, Seadogs are back in business and they're back on the Baron.
And we have to remember, if there's going to be something like a Baron stall on the side of Seadogs, they do have 3 Ocean Things, which means that regen is out of control. So if something like that happens, where they do like the base waiting game with cannon minions, that will actually be better for Seadogs than it will be for CBA, because they just will regen anytime they try to poke. And this was again beautifully played by Seadogs. They got the carry out, Vanguard was down, and then they just fully committed. The World Ender was up for Muppet, who can then fully engage, which was something that he didn't have available last time, which makes me think that that is the reason why he didn't go in, as I said before. And then just the knock-up from Sneaky Teapot was just great. They actually were trapped in the Cataclysm from Unknown Swede, and just very nicely played on the side of Seadogs.
It just started to look so good for CBA. When they found the fights and they found the heroic charges from Reprobate into the wall with Filster, but now this fight they didn't find it. Fighting in a choke against Alessandro Passive is not a good idea either. This led to the Baron for Seadogs and the hope from CBA to sliver out of bed, and I don't know what to come back from this.
I do want to note that, do you think this could be classified as a clan fiesta? Because it's 32-12, we have been 26 minutes only into the game. So pretty much
Might be.
1.5 kill per minute, I guess.
That is a lot of kills per minute. Also a lot of aggressive champions here.
Oh, before I forget, I do want to point out that I don't think it's not as bad for Philister not to get a QSS, because knockouts are not cancelled by a QSS. We have to remember that
Mammoth knocked into the wall, has to use the offensive shadows away from this fight.
they only have 2 stuns, which are from King. Actually 3, so it might be a little bit more, but it's
I'm not thinking against Kobe, to be honest. Like, his heroic charges into the wall have been insane, as now they're diving onto the lift, has to use the self-ult to stay alive and keep himself alive. But when it uses and he's gonna try to end the world off. CBA right here, but will he be able to do it? He has been knocked out of the fight. Here comes the hero's entrance from Teapot, and he will go in, dives away, but now they all survive. 3 survive from CBA. This might be the game as the world might have been ended on the side of CBA. I am unsure if this is gonna be it because Paulson and Bankert has to pop off. Unknown Sweet has some damage, but is it gonna be enough? There are 5 people. They're healing up so quickly with 3 Ocean Drakes, but Netherlands gets destroyed by Paulson. GI gets popped from Muppet. Mammal almost goes down, but Paulson as well. Now Bankert has to do some damage. He has to be the god in this fight. He is the one with the HP left. Kagan is here. They're coming forward. Sneaky Teapot gets Bellborn to corrupt. Everything will go on to him. The Justice Punch away will keep him alive. The Winds of War, just a tiny bit of damage, but now they're going on the Filzer. He gets stunned, but they can not quite yet. Because here comes the Starboy. He will get taken down though, and they will keep the game alive. He just gets take down Portsmouth. Muppet is back from his guidance angel, but he will not be the angel this fight as he's gonna drop. Bankert picks up a ton of gold as they keep the Nexus alive and they stay up in this game.
CBA just refuses to die. They refuse to throw in the towel, as we saw here. There were, I think, 4 people that went down with a Baron buff. That means that only 1 person, I'm really quickly checking. Mammal still has the Baron buff, Muppet doesn't, Needlelift doesn't, and Sneaky Teapot does. So 2 members still have the Baron buff, which means that it's a lot less valuable. However, the Drakes, there's a new Drake coming back up very soon. It's almost 30 minutes, which means the Elder is on the board. And I think that this was just a bad placement from CBS. They should have just not kept pushing in as soon as they got the inhibitor. What they should have done is played a macro better, maybe rotate to the top lane, push that in, and try to get the next base turret to make sure that when they did, or when the Baron buff was over, that only 1 turret was still standing for the base, which would have been just so much better for them than this.
Seadogs have been doing so well in the early game, but CBA are fighting back, closing the longer and longer this game goes out. There is a good thing, Seadogs having 3 Ocean Breaks, that feels good, very fast. But it wasn't quite fast enough that last fight. And some great play by Paulson, Vingard and the boys led to them being able to stall out the game a little bit longer. It is more than a 10k deficit, and it's going to be tough for them to try and bring it back.
I mean, this is what you would expect for some teams that are very highly thought of and that are considered one of the favorites to make playoffs, which is CBA, and Seadogs is expected.
They're in the contention, like it's one of the top 6 teams we expect. They are fighting with currently unknown enemy and ELT to stay in that spot.
Yes.
And we have never not thought that they won't be able to make playoffs. We've always seen a playoff contenders, and if they play like this early game they did, they are definitely there. But this late game is starting to look worse, of course.
Yeah, this just shows me that maybe they got a little cocky, but this just shows that CBA is able to deal with all these kinds of things. They were behind so far. They're still 11k behind, so they're still far behind. But the early game looked so much worse. The Baron was taken. The side of SBS has Seadogs has 4 dragons, which just helps him even more. And that Elder Drake is coming up soon. The Baron is coming up at 30, 35. The Elder Drake will come up at 4 to 5 minutes. If they get both, I don't think CBA can do something. So I really want to see them find someone out of position, maybe the Hecarim, try to all go on the Hecarim. You give up the Baron, but as soon as the Hecarim keeps pushing and they get the Baron, you will be even in a worse situation. So this will allow 1 less member to have that objective, and in the meantime will allow you some time to reset around the next Elder Drake, and will give you that time to maybe take it away. Because if
we will have a Baron fight here. Cut down onto 3 members, but will it be enough? Because Kagan and Unknown Sweet are dropping rapidly. The self off the middle left to make sure he stays alive, and this might be the end of CBA this game, and they will drop the entire lead of Seadogs, delivers all that damage to the face of an OG port in this last one left. He might be an OG member, but he might not be the one to save the game. It's 5 members alive, and this will be the end. They don't even need the Baron. They change Connect, but it's not enough at all. And Portsmouth will watch his kingdom fall as Seadogs take down CBA and finish 9-9.
Oh yeah, this was just insanely beautiful. This was very well played on the side of Seadogs. I do want to commend the side of CBA for holding out so long while they were in such a high deficit for pretty much the entire game. And even if we look at the damage graphs, I think that Unknown Swede might not have had the best positioning because he was one of the ones that always died the first, which if you go the build that he does, he is going, in my opinion, a bit of a mixed build. He has the warrior and the black cleaver, and then he starts to build tanky, which you either want to commit to the tank or the AD. You don't want to go to both. And we can also see that resembled in his damage. He has less damage than the support Galio, who is sitting on 11k, while he's sitting on 7 to 8k. And if we just look at the whole statics, like Draven, of course, had the most damage of the game, and second is just let's see, it's Lissandra with Poppy following, and then there's the rest of SDS. And yeah, the only thing I can say is I would say that Muppet would be the player of the game for me. He was everywhere. Nidlift might be as well, but Muppet was everywhere he needed to be. He was constantly on the clock, on the bot side, helping them get ahead, because that's what you want. You have a Lucian, you want to get them ahead in the early game. He was stopping Vayne gods from popping off. Just very well played by him.
He played such a great game. Seadogs did manage to close it out in the end. The damage share you can see is very equal on their side if you compare it to the side of CBA. Paulson tried to do his best as well as Vanguard. They all did, but it wasn't quite enough to keep them in the game. And now this does mean that the lovely roster of Seadogs has improved to 99. They have a 50% win rate now, and they're one step closer to playoffs. They want to get that playoff spot, and this win was crucial for that.
Yep.
Not much else to say, it's a massive win.
Yeah, it was not as stomp as it could have been, because if they wouldn't have held on, yes, it would have been a massive stomp, which I would have not have expected when we first came into the match. But yeah, this was still kind of a medium stomp. Let's just keep it at that.
A medium stomp.
Yeah.
We can definitely agree on that, Blade. But we will have to run it out here today. This has been it for SQ1. There sadly is no second game today. We will be back tomorrow, though, at 7 p.m. Central European Time. Not summertime yet. It will be soon, though. But we'll be back with 2 exciting games coming up tomorrow. Until then, we wish you guys a great evening, and thank you guys for watching the stream. Me and Blade is out.
Bye-bye.